5 things we learned from the Premier League this weekend, breaking down Manchester City's terrible form, Liverpool against Fulham and their title charge, the sorry Saints, Arsenal and Manchester United. We have to start off with where Manchester United are with Ruben Amorim. Now, they get a massive win against Man City last minute. They showed belief. They showed quality in the final 10 minutes that I've not seen from a Man United side in a derby match for quite some time, maybe since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And unfortunately for Man United, it doesn't result in anything in terms of the table, really. It gets them a little bit closer, but I don't think they're anywhere near the top 4 shout, to be completely honest. But there are lots and lots and lots of positives to take away from the result. The first one for me is Amad Diallo, because I've been a little bit critical of Diallo. I'm going to hold my hands up for sure. I loved his time at Sunderland. He ripped up the Championship. He's come through. He's been a long-term player at Manchester United. He's been there for quite a few years now. And to see him flourishing, to see him blossom into the kind of player where he can take it around the keeper on a half bounce and knock it past 2 centre-backs on the line with that much quality. It was a world-class goal. To see him flourish like that is a ringing endorsement for Manchester United. He is going to be a superstar. Gary Neville came out and had some massive compliments for him as well. He has to be built around. There has to be a striker that I think he can link up with. I think there has to be a lot more support from the kind of the midfield around him as well. But he is a star. And I think Manchester United are going to be building a future around him versus Marcus Rashford. And the second thing for me is Ruben Amorim. He is a Manchester United manager. I'm sorry. We can debate if Ineos are going to be able to give him the funds to compete with Liverpool, Manchester City, Arsenal, Chelsea in the next 3 to 4 to 5 years. We can debate that until the cows come home. But mark my words, he's a Man United manager. He has managed expectations exceptionally well to get that result. It says that what he's saying to these players on the training ground from a losing position is converting to getting a win at the Etihad in crazy circumstances. I thought Ugarte had a very good performance. I thought Harry Maguire had a very, very good performance. So I think Ruben Amorim is making improvements to players already, which is a massive ring endorsement. I don't think Erik ten Hag was coaching players to a high level. I don't think he was improving players, in my opinion. I think Ruben Amorim, you can see the blossomings, including Amad Diallo as well. But I like the way he's handled the Rashford and Garnacho situation. These guys are melts, aren't they? They're right up their own. I'm not going to say the word on the channel, but they're so sure of themselves. And for me, Marcus Rashford, it's easy to pile on someone like that. He's a massive name for the biggest club in the world. But I don't see it. I've never seen it, to be honest with you. 30 goals, we're talking 2-3 years ago now. It just feels a little bit short. I think Man United have to cut their losses. I think Ruben Amorim has handled the situation very, very well. If Marcus Rashford comes back for the next game, which I think he absolutely will with Garnacho, he'll be looking at a side that have beaten Manchester City, and Ruben Amorim's kind of plan and how he used him has paid dividends. It's worked. So I think Ruben Amorim has managed that situation massively well. Have to talk about Southampton. They've obviously sat Russell Martin, one of the worst points per game averages I've ever seen in Premier League history. 5 points, nearly halfway through the season. These guys are going to get relegated quick, and you can say bingo. The weird guy that does the dancing to, I think it's Faithless, is absolutely embarrassing. I can't wait till he's doing that at Millwall Stadium versus Old Trafford. And let's be completely real. Southampton haven't got a Premier League squad. They've got a Championship squad. I think they got promoted a little bit too early, and that's a massive credit and in the bank for Russell Martin. I don't think he's going to go and get a job like Vincent Kompany. He's absolutely not. Even if he'd stayed all the way through and relegated Southampton, I still don't see the links there. I think Kompany has that kind of time with Guardiola. He has that time as a player for the biggest clubs in the world. Well, Man City, in terms of the Champions League kind of runs that he would have been on and winning Premier League titles. Russell Martin wasn't that kind of player, so he's not going to be getting these big jobs. I'm seeing people saying he might be getting the Spurs job or the Newcastle job. He might not even get a Premier League job next. I don't think he's shown anywhere near enough tactical flexibility to get something out of this side. Look at what Kieran McKenna's doing at Ipswich. Big win against Wolves, of course, but he's made them tactically flexible. When they need to play out from the back, they will. Or if they need to pump it up long to Liam Delap, they will. They haven't got the same kind of squad Southampton as Ipswich. I don't think they've been backed in the same way. But still, it's embarrassing. What happened against Spurs was cataclysmically bad. And these guys are getting relegated. They're preparing for life already in the Championship. They're linked to the Sheffield Wednesday manager. They're linked to the West Brom manager as well, Corberan. So I think it's over. adios. In a few weeks they'll be relegated, so you don't need to worry about it. Have to talk about Liverpool. I look at their fixtures now coming up. They actually have Southampton in the League Cup as well. Going to blow them away 100%, even though they're away on Wednesday. The next 3 games in the Premier League, I think, will define Liverpool's Premier League title campaign, in my honest opinion, because the next 3 games takes them up to basically the new year. Things can change massively, and we did see against Fulham a slight dip, maybe on the defensive aspect of the right-hand side for Liverpool. It showed you that, you know, Fulham and Anthony Robertson, with a bit of adventure, can bomb forward. You can overlap Trent. The Trent defensive frailties are still there. Not as bad as they used to be. For sure, they've been minimised. But Gravenberch, Trent, there was a little bit of lack of communication, certainly for the first goal. So I still think Liverpool they're not perfect. They look perfect with the record they've got. Don't get me wrong. But if they were to slip up in the next few weeks, it would open the door for Chelsea, for Arsenal. I'm not going to say anyone else, of course, after yesterday. But if they win the next 3, which I actually do just see them winning them, I think it's game over for the rest of the Premier League. I really do. Spurs away, it's hard. They look very, very good against Southampton. James Maddison was unplayable. You never know what Spurs are going to do. I don't know what to say about that game, to be honest with you. I'll probably talk about it on the channel later in the week. But after that, let's just say they beat Spurs. Hard game, but let's just say they beat them. Probably should have beat them last season with that VAR decision. Leicester City, West Ham United, you feel very, very winnable games, and suddenly a platform where Arsenal have fallen off. Chelsea, I don't think are going to be able to make up the points. I think it will be season defining for Liverpool in the next few weeks. And the big player for me is Jota. Jota gives you that kind of that energy, that directness, that cute finish. I don't maybe see Diaz having in the same way, or even Gakpo, who can be a little bit wasteful at times, maybe a little bit. But Jota's got a ruthless streak, and I think he'll be massively important, particularly in the business end of the season, for getting goals for Liverpool. Have to talk about Man City tomorrow. I'll be doing a Man City transfer video. Who should Man City keep and sell? Maybe in both January and the summer windows. It's going to be very, very interesting. There's probably a lot more names on the sell list than there ever have been before. I don't think it's time for crisis. I just think it's time for saying that Man City have to go again against Aston Villa, show some quality in that game and try and just pick up points for a top 4 push. It's getting so bad now, 1 win in 11, that City have to now take stock, reevaluate what's happening, where are we going in life, on the football pitch, and try and just grind out results and make it ugly. Pellegrini did it at the back end of his career when things weren't quite working out. Same with Mancini. When Mancini realised he wasn't going to win the league, grinding out results nonetheless. And this City side at the moment aren't even able to grind out results. The next level, I mean, there are City fans genuinely saying it's not about beating Man United, it's about smashing Man United. I thought Man United were going to win the game. Genuine prediction. But I think that the expectation has to go from not just losing games now. It's about getting draws. It's getting about nasty wins. It's not about smashing anyone. City aren't going to smash anyone for a while until maybe Rodri comes back, to be completely honest. Or someone comes in January, which is crazy. I know Bruno comes in and suddenly everyone lifts. It's crazy saying that, but that's just the reality of the transfer market, how influential it can be. But City have to go above now. It has to be a little bit more than just grinding out results. Losing, it has to be about grinding out results and being harder to play against and trying to get draws. I think a draw against Aston Villa would be an amazing result as well. Away from home, that one. Cool. Have to wrap up with Arsenal AFTV in meltdown. You love to see it. And I think their fans have actually got a little bit of... I think it's fair what they're doing. I would be livid if I was an Arsenal fan. Seeing the side that makes so much money in terms of as a football club, how big it is. I'm not saying they can go out and spend billions like what Chelsea have done, quite recklessly in my opinion. But they certainly had more than enough money to go out and sign Raheem Sterling, put him on 150 grand a week, take off his wages from Chelsea, kind of helping a rival on some level. Moreno's come in. Calafiori's come in with an injury record. I like Calafiori and Moreno. I like Calafiori a lot. But those two feel like signings that complement you when you've gone out and signed a world-class forward. You've gone out and signed a world-class midfielder. They're the icing on the cake. They're not the cake. And they needed a big number 9, a Gyökeres, an Ivan Toney back in the summer. Clearly they needed it because Kai Havertz, yes, he's got a goal in him, but he hasn't got an ugly goal in him, in my opinion. He's always scoring in the second, the third, the fourth goal. I never feel that when Arsenal needed a big finish against Everton, that he was the kind of man to necessarily do it. But you feel that this Arsenal side, despite how maybe non-dynamic they are, they're a little bit linear. Ivan Toney down the middle would have got something against Everton. I just know it. Mbeumo, for example, they've been linked with Mbeumo in recent weeks. Gyökeres, Vlahovic, dare I say it, would just offer something with a bit more potency. They need it desperately. I don't see Arsenal winning the title, but they have to offer something because they could get sucked out of a top 4 race. I mean, you look at Nottingham Forest; they're doing so well. I'm not saying Nottingham Forest are going to do Aston Villa. Their squad is nowhere near really. But stranger things have happened in football. Arsenal have to be very, very careful they don't slip out of not only a title race, a top 4 race. That would be crazy for Arteta and for the project at large. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're new here as well. Tons of content coming out this week, including a Man City Aston Villa preview. I'll be looking forward to what Guardiola has to do with the City side to change things around for the better. I'll see you very, very soon.